Hi and welcome to this quick little movement sequence to open up the hips. We haven't got long, so we'll start right away. Start with your legs wide apart and just start by swaying from side to side, pressing one hip out and then the other, staying soft through the knees, balanced through the feet. Feeling a stretch down the inside of one leg and the outside of the opposite hip, and then the other way. And then turning your right toes out towards the end of the mat, step it back into a lunge position. Left foot points forward, back leg is engaged. Bring the fingertips down either side of the right foot. Breathe in to look forward, and then as you exhale, send yourself back into triangle legs. Just not taking it super deeply as we're only just warming up, just moving in the way that feels good on your body, maybe keeping a bend in that front knee rather than straightening it all the way if your leg doesn't feel ready for that. One more time. And then from there, turn your right toes towards the top left corner of the mat. Turn your left toes out so they're pointing towards the left side. And then turn the heel over so that the toes are pointing up, ready for a Skandasana lunge. If that feels too much with the hips all the way down, you can take a half version up on your fingers and just try and bring the hips as low as you can, otherwise coming down to the full version. Wherever you are, finding your breath. And then crawling your way over to the opposite edge of the mat. Coming to the lunge, facing the opposite direction. We're ready to get into the left leg and the right hip flexor now. Breathe in to look forward. Exhale, send it back to that triangle position. Trying to move with your breath. One more time. And then from here, find that Skandasana stance with the feet, turning your left toes out towards the top right corner of the mat, and then swiveling your right up towards the ceiling, feeling that stretch through the hips, and again, taking that halfway down version if you're come down or if you're just feeling really tight in the hips. Come halfway down, take a couple of breaths here. And then we'll place the hands in front, come back up, bring heel toe the feet slightly closer together and turn the toes outwards, coming up into a goddess position. Swivel the body from one side to the other, making sure that the knees are pressing out in line with the toes. And then make your way up into the full goddess position. So thighs are really active, but we're opening up the hips as well. See if you can wiggle from side to side. Really tune into your breath here. Come a little lower with the hips. One more deep breath. And then release, coming up once again. And then from there, make your way around towards the top of your mat, plant the hands, step it back into a downward facing dog. Just taking a moment to pedal out the feet and wiggle the hips from side to side. And then from here, breathe in, reach your left leg high as it can go. And then open the hips out towards the left side, stacking your left hip open above the right and then bending into the left knee. And you can take a little circle with the left knee, opening up the hip even more, back the other way. And then swivel your body towards the mat once again. Scoop your left knee forwards, coming into a pigeon pose. So your left shin can either be parallel with the top edge of the mat or at a slight angle like mine. My heel is quite close to my body. Pigeon is different for different people. If you feel any tension in the knee, then this version is the best option for you, as having your shin parallel will put more pressure on your knee. So we'll stay in the active version first of all. If this is enough for you, stay here, or you can add on a little hip flexor stretch by grabbing that right foot and pulsing it out. You can even see if you can release the hand and try and kick the right heel actively towards you, and then grab it with the hand again. So working through some passive and active stretches. This is the way to build strong, stable flexibility. Wherever you are in this position, just breathing, finding the version of the pose that's right on your body today. And then come over into a more passive version of pigeon, walking the hands down in front of you. And taking a few long, slow breaths here. And then from here, walk your hands back up, swivel yourself over onto the left hip, and then swing your right leg around. So we're going to come to cow face legs. You want your heels wrapped around you and your knees stacked on top of each other. If this is not accessible for you, then just plant the right foot over the top and you'll still feel that stretch. If you can get into the full version of the pose, try flexing your feet to take some pressure off the knees, and you'll see this cow nose and the two ears. And then you can maybe choose the option to interlace your fingers behind your upper back and fold forward, or just fold forward without the arms, whichever you prefer today. And take a few breaths here in your version of the pose. It's only when we really slow down the breath and stay in the pose longer than our mind is telling us to that we make progress and really open up those tight areas in the body. Another deep breath in. And then rising up once again. Swing your right leg around behind you and then step it back into downward facing dog once again. Just pedal out the feet, give your legs a minute to come back to neutral. And then when you're ready, breathe in, reach the right leg high. Open out the hips towards the right side this time. And then bend the right knee, stacking the right hip on top of the left. Make some little circles, one way, and then the other way. And then when you're ready, scooping your right knee forward. Coming into your version of the position. And I have a knee injury, so I am going to be rocking my weight over onto my right hip, which is not what you're usually supposed to do. You want to keep your weight balanced between the hips, but this helps to take some pressure off my knee. So if your knee is ever hurting, you can also try this. And wherever you are in the pose, maybe try finding that hip flexor stretch with the other leg, reaching back to the left foot if you can. And try that active kicking of the heel towards you again. And then a passive stretch, grabbing the foot with your hand. a few breaths wherever you are. And then when you're ready, release and lie yourself down over that front leg. Just taking a few breaths in your supine pigeon position. Trying to keep your hips square. A few breaths here. Another breath in. And then as you exhale, walk the hands back up. Swing your left leg around. Bring yourself into that cow face position on the other side. Maybe it feels different for you on this side. Just work with what you can do today. And either staying upright or maybe taking the bind, making sure to find the opposite way to before and folding forward if that feels okay for you. And taking a few breaths. Another breath in. And as you exhale, come out. This time we'll just uncross the legs and take the feet wide apart. Sway the knees from side to side. And if you have time, maybe continue with one of my other hips or hamstrings flows. I will link some on the screen here. Otherwise, thank you so much for moving with me, for finding a little amount of time for you and your body. I will see you in the next one. Namaste.